Hi, welcome. And um, we are so excited to have our guest, Lori Denison,
Yeah.
to be our guest today. Um, this is May, and Dr. J is having some, uh, some technical component that cannot be join us at this interview session. So this is the healing step to wellness with Dr. J and May. And today, May will be here to host the podcast. And it's my pleasure to have Lori, who is a very vital person to support the many breast cancer survivor, and a lot of mentorship and very unique organization to provide a lot of mentorship to many people. So I'm here to welcome Lori, and I'm inviting Lori to introduce herself and share us about herself and also organization.
Okay. Hi, I'm Lori Denison, and I am a breast cancer survivor, which is
Mhm.
what we're kind of talking about today.
Mhm.
I was diagnosed with a stage one hormone positive cancer back in 2008 through a routine mammogram. Which actually was about 17 years ago, almost to the day. So it was
Oh,
diagnosed,
wow.
sometime around today. And at the time of diagnosis, I had had like a cyst that they were kind of watching, and so I thought that's what they were for. I had it for like 20 years, and I thought that's what they were kind of seeing on the mammogram, but then that's actually not what they were seeing. They saw a completely different spot. So um, um, from there, I did have an enlarged lymph node as well, but they didn't find cancer cells in it. So basically, my treatment was really just a double mastectomy with reconstruction. So that was
Mm.
my cancer journey, and I guess I maybe should have started with, I live in Rochester, Minnesota. I've lived here for many years. I was born in La Crosse, Wisconsin, which is about what, maybe 70 miles from here.
Mm.
So I've
Mhm.
lived in the Midwest kind of my whole life. Um, I work at Mayo Clinic, but not in a medical capacity at all. I work in IT. So
Mhm.
yeah. Um, and I think that, we're talking about our nonprofit organization, um, the Breast Cancer Support Network,
Mhm.
also. And so I know, connecting sort of my breast cancer journey with how I got connected to BCSN for short. That's
Mhm.
what we call it. So was I when I was diagnosed back in 2008. There was another nonprofit organization called Join the Journey, and then there was an affiliated group called the Pink Ribbon Mentors. The Pink Ribbon Mentors group was founded and led by Dr. Linda Miller, who was actually a Mayo Clinic physician and breast cancer survivor and mentor herself. I wasn't really very familiar with that group, but I received a small pink piece of paper in a folder that I got when I was first diagnosed. And I wasn't, the folder had a lot of different information in it. They didn't want us Googling, and scaring ourselves to death. So they gave us this folder of resources that we
Mm.
could actually find. And as part of that, I wasn't really very focused on that. But at the time of my surgery, Linda Miller came and visited me in the hospital after my
Mm.
surgery. She was a mentor.
Mm.
And basically, once I had the discussion with her, I was forever grateful for her help and also forever hooked. in this, kind of helping people and mentoring.
mm, mhm,
Um, and so I think, a couple of the things that, I'll never forget that visit, because basically she was spunky and vibrant and alive. I mean, and which I sort of, she looked completely normal, and I wasn't, I
mm,
wasn't really expecting that, because I guess I didn't know what to expect, but I wasn't expecting that. We had a really nice conversation, and she offered like so much hope. And honestly, Dr. Miller, she continued to mentor me for a couple of years, and then she twisted my arm to become a mentor myself. And so that was like a couple of years after that, maybe 2010-ish time frame. Um, and so I joined the group as a mentor. I was involved with Join the Journey, which Pink Ribbon Mentors fell under, for about 10 years until COVID happened. Then in
mm,
2020, when COVID happened, everything came to a screeching halt. So basically, that was sort of a bit of a crossroads where we were trying to determine where to go from there. Everything shut
mm,
down. We couldn't
mhm,
meet with mentors. We couldn't have, support groups or anything like that.
mhm, mhm,
So Join the Journey decided really to expand and from breast cancer to covering all cancers. So based on that decision, several of us wanted to keep our breast cancer only
mm,
focus.
mm,
So that's where we started the Breast Cancer Support Network, or BCSN. So that's how BCSN kind of came to be. Um, and the nice thing, as an added bonus, um, beyond, because of COVID, most of our support that we do today is really virtual. We
mm,
will do, one-on-one. We do have a program for one-on-one, but
mm, mm,
basically we do a lot of virtual, and it fits well, I think, into kind of our
mm,
post-COVID, virtual world. So,
mhm.
so that's a little bit about me and how I got connected with BCSN and how BCSN came to be.
Wow. Wow, what a journey. I capture the two key words that you mentioned here,
Yeah,
got my attention is
yeah,
your mentor, Dr. Miller, was a very
yeah.
vibrant.
Hmm.
She provided the hope. Okay.
Yeah,
I think those are two very important things for any person who
right.
trying, in a stage to go through their health recovery journey. So um, if you could help us understand further on you take that big lead to start this organization, focus on the breast cancer support,
Yeah,
and especially to help people and just kind of your personal transformation and how you want to help other people
sure.
come through that journey. Um, you kind of share with me about the three different programs
Sure.
from your
Yep.
organization.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Sure. Yep. So we have, right now we have three programs, three core programs, like you mentioned. We have one program that is a one-on-one mentorship program.
Mm,
So we currently have 35 what we call trained breast cancer survivor mentors, because they do go through some training on how to how to help people and things to say and things not to say, that kind of thing.
mm,
So we have about 35 people right now, including one male breast cancer survivor, which is a
mm,
really
mm,
interesting twist for us as
mm,
well, because it does happen to males as well as females.
mm, mm,
And then, so this is like I said, it's one-on-one support. Um, basically, whatever. We are matched. So let me back up. A patient would call our number or contact us, and I can tell you how to do that here in a bit. But they would contact us, and one of our mentors actually asks them a bunch of questions like, um, things that they might have in common so that we might match
Mm.
a mentor to. So, do they
Oh,
have children? How old are they?
oh,
What kind of cancer do they have? What kind of treatments
right.
are they going to have? So that we're
Okay.
really trying to match people so that we can help them, like for like, patient to patient, as much
Oh,
as we can. And so that's our one-on-one mentorship program. Then we have a a weekly non-metastatic virtual support group. So basically, this is a virtual support group for people that have stage 0 to 3 cancers, breast cancer, and breast cancer only. So we are focused on breast cancer, people with a breast cancer diagnosis. Um, this is a weekly support group that meets on Monday nights at 7 p.m. Central Time. Two of our survivors facilitate the meeting and the discussions. Um, and so they're along with patients that join. We do have occasionally male providers that will join, share their expertise, answer questions that people have from more of a medical perspective. And actually, on average, there's probably about 45 attendees that join the meetings, each week.
that's a
Um,
lot. Very
it
part.
is a lot,
Yeah, yeah.
because the one thing that I always say is, like, one-on-one, Rochester is a lot of patients that come from everywhere.
Mm,
So
mm,
we only catch people when they're here for treatment, or,
mm,
the
mm,
few people that are being newly diagnosed. Um, and with these virtual support groups, like, we can reach so many people, like,
mm,
really worldwide. All they need is an internet connection, and we do
mm,
have people joining from the US, Canada, Australia,
mm,
like, all over the place. In fact, we
mhm.
even have interpreters that
Mm.
speak 5 or 6 different languages, so we
Wow.
can bring people in, and we hope to even grow that a little
Mhm.
bit more in the past. But we can reach so many more people than we have in the
Wow.
and then the third group is a monthly metastatic group. So this group supports, it's specifically for metastatic breast cancer patients. Um, they meet virtually the second Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m. Central Time. Again, we have two of our mentors that or our survivors that facilitate the discussions, but a lot of times with the metastatic, they kind of facilitate their own conversations. Um, we do, and then every other meeting, there's also Mayo Clinic medical oncologist that joins the discussion more for, like, um, deeper medical type questions and
Mm.
conversations. Because we, as mentors, we don't talk anything medical. It's
Mhm.
all, patient to patient, things that we can help and support with. Um, Around non-medical type things. And that group gets about 6 attendees joining that meeting, at a time. I mean, I think I always say it's a good thing that there's not as many attendees there, because, then there isn't, hopefully there isn't as many metastatic as there is, non-metastatic patients, hopefully. Um, and there's a couple other points just in general that I wanted to make about these programs, and that is, we feel that this is one of the blessings that came out of COVID. So, like I mentioned, when we were seeing people, just in person, it was great to have that connection. But now we can reach so many people and so many places, really any location. A lot of times, rural and remote people, people living in those areas just don't have, the ability and the programs to reach people. So we can,
Mhm.
or to get to a
Right.
in person,
Right.
so we can connect with all of those people. And I just wanted to also share just a couple statistics, just to talk about that a little bit. And that is, so like in the 2017, 18, 19 time frame, we were probably seeing in the non-metastatic, anywhere from, like I said, up to like 45 people per year, though, not monthly. Now, since 2020, that has risen to in 2024 at the end of the year, we had 1,900 people join our non-metastatic, um, uh, yeah, support
Wow.
online. So just a little metric there to show how far we can actually reach and how many more people we can reach with our.
Wow.
Yep.
That's amazing. Wow. So, um, so you said how many volunteers they persistently to devote
Yep.
their time on this mentorship program?
Yep. There's about 35 right now. It
35.
varies, but um, about 35 at the moment. We've had up to close to 50.
Mm-hmm.
But now that after COVID, that kind of reduced a little bit, and the numbers fell because we didn't have as many
Mm.
patients to see. But now that those numbers are growing again, so
Wow.
good.
So among all this mentorship that such a journey that for the organization to grow, what are the most significant or say accomplishment or the um like the stories that you can share with our
Um,
audience?
yeah. Yep. I mean, we get so many people. I mean, we do get a lot of testimonials. We put some of them on our website, but a lot of people, send us emails and tell us how much we've given them hope. Our goal is always to make the connections to make them feel less alone, provide hope, listen to them, and just encourage them to keep a positive mindset. More like I can do this. We will, you know we will help you through it. We'll help get you through it. No matter what
Mm,
you're feeling or whatever your challenge is, patient to patient, we
mm-hmm,
will help you. No question is too big or too small.
mm-hmm,
We're available, almost any time. But what they tell us really is that, and I know I've experienced in my own journey, is that um, there's a lot of friends and family that want to support you. They're there for you. They want to support you,
mm-hmm,
and but they don't truly understand,
mm-hmm,
what the challenges are, and
mm-hmm,
you know how how alone you can feel when everybody is off, having fun and doing
mm-hmm,
different things, and you just don't feel like you can
mm-hmm,
do it, or the side effects from the
mm-hmm.
treatments,
Treatment.
and the long-term effects of those treatments as well.
Mm-hmm,
So we get a lot of comments about that, and we get a lot of comments about how appreciative they are for this
mm-hmm,
connection and the ability to really pair, or even in the online to join every week. Sometimes it's just join, be with other people, listen, you know, hear what other people are
mm-hmm,
experiencing so that they know what they're experiencing is probably normal because other people are experiencing it as well.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Um, so we get a lot of comments like that. And our mentees are so appreciative of that. The other thing that I'll say is, like, we as mentors we've really made a lot of lifelong friends. I mean, I still connect
mm-hmm,
with a lot of the mentees that I've had. I still connect with Linda Miller, who was,
Mm-hmm.
my mentor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really sort of a community in itself. You know,
Mm,
I've also heard people say one of the worst things that happened to me was breast cancer, but one of the best things that happened to me was
mm,
breast cancer because it opened up a whole new world of connections with people, people and activities, and just like the rally that's coming up. It's people getting together and joining together for like an unfortunate common thing, but really it brings a lot of people together. It's
It's amazing when you talk about how you match the mentor,
Yeah. Mhm.
and the the also the what is how should I the mentee the
The
mentor and the mentee, yeah.
mentees.
Hmm. And to match based on the background, the family, and also the type of the cancer. So, do you see the mentees that in the beginning, at a very early stage, um, what are the most concern they have? And
Fear.
then, yeah, what concern they have, and especially when they are dealing with the work, their job, and also their family, especially if they have a young family. I I just cannot imagine that how
Mm,
much they have to process in their head.
right. Fear of that they're not going to survive, fear that they're not going to be there for their family and their
Mm,
kids. Um, the other thing is, how do I balance my family and
mm,
when I'm tired and when I'm sick, how do I talk to my kids about this?
mm,
How do I talk
mm,
to my family about this? How do I you know, how do I be strong for them? We
mm,
always tell people too. A lot of times they say, I'm the rock. I'm what keeps my family together. And now I
mm,
can't. I don't have the strength.
mm,
I feel like
mm,
I
mm,
don't have the strength. And we always tell them, you know, let people help you.
mm,
We are human, and when we can't be the rock, then let somebody be the rock for you, or
mm,
help you be the rock. Because so many times people say, I don't need help, I can handle this. I've gotten through a lot of things in my life and I can handle it. But then when they start having their treatments and they really get into it, and really the diagnosis really sets in, because a lot of them will say, when they're given the information, here's the number to these mentors, call them if you need to. They're like, yeah, I won't really need that probably. And they call and they say,
mm,
I didn't think I need this, but I really need this. So we tell them it's not a weakness. Let us help
mm,
you. Let
mm,
us be, help you help walk side by side with you through
mm,
this journey. Help us.
mm,
We've been through it, so
mm,
let us help you get through it as well. But a lot of it is, people are just afraid of, what if I can't do this? What if I'm not here? What about body image? And what about, can I have children? A
mm,
lot of them are, if they're young, they're concerned, can I have children?
mm,
Things like that. So those are some of the fears that we hear a lot as people are
mm,
starting out in their journey in connecting us, and that's why we want to connect people with as close as we can get. If we have a young patient, we would love to connect them with somebody that is also thinking about
mm,
having children, or have
mm,
children after
mm,
after their treatment. So anything that we can match people with, and we try to bring on mentors that is a very diverse group, also
mm,
in age and all kinds of things. So
mm,
we
mm,
try to build out to be as flexible as we
mm,
can be.
mm. So, can you give us the idea about the demographic that you have among all these mentees? and their
Sure.
age group and
Yeah, sure.
you see.
Yep, in the 35 people, we have people in their upper 20s, we have people in their 40s, we have
Mm,
people in their 50s, 60s, 80. We
mm-hmm,
have a male. Um,
mm-hmm,
and we used to only have people in Rochester that were
mm,
mentors.
mm,
Now we have people really all over the place. I don't
mm,
know that we have any mentors outside of the US that I'm aware of at the moment. I don't think so, but we do have them in different states because
mm,
almost everything that we do is virtual. So even the one-on-one mentoring, many times people aren't really meeting face to face anymore. They are, phone calls, texts, um, social medias of, messaging and messenger and, emails, like Zoom calls or, so it has worked out. But the other thing is, um, the benefit of having people in different demographic areas is that many of these areas they don't have mentor groups like this, and
mm,
so sometimes they if they're in a local area, say they're in North Carolina or something like that, and we match up with a either a new mentee or um, new mentors. Sometimes they are like, "Oh, we live in North Carolina. Let's get
mm-hmm.
together, and
Yeah.
let's meet." Or somebody does on one of the virtual support groups say, "I'm located here." They a lot of times they're even the mentee or the patient's mentees are exchanging emails in
Mm,
the chat of the meetings and stuff. So
mm-hmm,
really, I think we are trying to even broaden that further so that
mm-hmm,
we can have a local presence in more places and actually
mm-hmm,
provide a little bit more face to face other than Rochester because we know that's a very small, a lot of
mm-hmm,
people come here to Mayo from other places, but
mm-hmm,
we still, our goal is just to connect as many people um, as we can from as many places. And
mm-hmm,
so we do try to build mentors and mentees from all over it.
mm-hmm. So, so beside your uh it looks like you provide the health information, um kind of a conduct a QA from the oncologists, the
Yep,
healthcare professionals
yep,
to
yep,
answer all these questions.
yep.
Beside this, any anything else that you also offer to this group to help them, as you mentioned about, in the beginning, how to help them overcome the fear.
Sure.
So like, spirituality or the other, I can think of the stress gonna be
Yeah,
very high.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So what kind of other service that you also offer to through this virtual coaching
Sure.
or
So there's
mentoring?
two components of this actually. We bring in resources. We have a monthly meeting with all the mentors. So our
Mm-hmm.
35 mentors, we have a monthly meeting, and we at in those meetings, we also bring in um, providers, all different kinds of providers. So from radiology to um, um, the chaplains at Mayo clinics have come to speak to us. We bring in people like from acupuncture, from um, mental health resources, and so we have them come to our meetings and train us as
Mm,
mentors, and
mm,
also build these connections so that
mm,
we can provide resources to these
mm, mm, mm,
to the mentees or the whoever's asking for it.
mm, mm,
um, and then we also try to get a broader types of providers that will join the support groups too, but that's a little bit harder because in a support group, a lot of times physicians and other providers feel like, um, something they'll say might help one person, but might, instill fear in
Mm,
another person, right? And so there sometimes we have a harder time getting. We have a couple regulars that will join and answer questions, but we have a harder time getting a more diverse set of providers to join the actual support group calls. Um,
mm,
but we really try to to gather as many resources that we can give people,
mm,
books and links and trustworthy
mm,
sites and information. But we also try to get train our own selves and keep our own selves up to date on things like what are the new treatments, what are they doing for reconstruction, so that we can understand the language that the patients are bringing, so that we won't know the answers necessarily, but we might be able to connect them with a resource
mm,
that
mm,
they can
mm,
that they can
mhm,
find.
mhm. So that is very like medical component part, patient kind of concerned about, well, what is
Yep,
the most up to date treatment method anyway, like anything else that they can
yep,
the benefit they can benefit them. And from the adopting a healthy lifestyle standpoint,
yep.
how do you offer the resources for your mentee?
That is an area that we probably don't have. We don't have a lot of resources for, to be completely honest. I mean,
Mhm,
we have had a dietitian come and talk,
mhm,
but years ago, um, we used to have we used to have a connection with a dietitian at Mayo Clinic, and she would come and do talks, for us all the time. But we don't really, after COVID, some of these connections
mhm.
kind of we kind of lost some of them. But honestly, that's an area that we need and would love, to teach people about and give them resources to.
So I hear that is kind of one area that if as a community,
Yeah,
if there's any resources that can offer to your
yeah,
mentor group and further offer to your mentees, that
yes.
can be even better, like,
That would be
can
great.
adopt it. Yeah, okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Anything else that you think as a community that you would like to um, invite any other expertise that can support your mentee or your group in general?
Sure. I think like some of the challenges we hear people talk about, in thinking about your question, is mental health is really big.
Mhm,
Anxiety and fear, people kind of, like one of our board members, her phrase is, you know, we need to feel all the feels, and we need to allow our mentees to feel all the feels. So, you start out with, shock and, fear
mm,
and, kind of working through all of that. And, and we sometimes, we're not health professionals, so we're
mhm,
providers. So we sometimes really, we struggle with that a little bit.
mhm,
We approach that by listening,
mhm,
by offering hope, by trying
mhm,
to, remain positive. Sometimes we'll say, do you want to meet and go for a walk? Do you want to just, get away from everything for a while and go
mhm,
and just sit? We don't even have to talk, just sit.
mhm,
Or those are the kinds that we things that we try to do, but that's an area I think that we could do better with, and I wish we had more
mhm,
resources to give them, because it is a big thing. Loneliness, a lot of them are lonely. They feel even if they have people around them, like I said, they're lonely because they feel like
Mm,
people don't really understand,
mhm,
100% what they're going through. And a lot of times family members don't know how to help their,
mhm,
family, their, person going through it. Um, and so we try to create that safe place for them to talk to get some of that out, to go for a walk, to just I don't know, join a call and listen to.
mhm,
We've joined
mhm,
calls and watched movies. We've joined calls
mhm,
and listened to music. We've joined
mhm,
calls and did breathing exercises and things like
mhm,
that, especially for the one our one-on-one mentors, mentees, mentor
mhm,
mentees, whatever they like whatever they need, but we are limited in what we can really provide in some of these areas, like I said before too. Body image, after surgeries and things like that
mhm,
is a really big thing, and
mhm.
um they kind of sometimes need more coaching than what we can provide through some of those things. We try to, I think we hear them say, we see you, just like I felt with when Linda Miller came to talk to me and after surgery. Like, I'm looking at her and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's back to her life. You wouldn't even know she had breast cancer because she was bubbly and happy, and she just looked like a normal person and was enjoying everything. She was working, she was managing all of her things. um and a lot of times they'll say that, it's just such an inspiration just to see that, you got through it. You actually did get through it. And, we tell them, you will too, we'll help you get through this,
Mhm.
and, a lot of things like positive attitude and actually, those kinds of things can really help um, your recovery. So in other words, it's not all physical. There's really an emotional,
Emotional.
yeah, emotional
Mhm,
piece to this as
mhm,
well. So
mhm,
we just aren't equipped all the time to help,
mhm.
if it's really, um, more complex, but
Wow. Well, this is a very insightful, and I'm so glad, and we should announce this, right? So I'm so glad to have your organization partner with the Lotus House Foundation
yeah,
for the first Let's Beat Breast Cancer rally that
yeah,
that is going to happen on October 10th at 125 Live,
yeah,
and that's and the kind of abbreviation of this breast cancer wellness activity is called LBBC, which
yeah,
is started from by the Dr. Barnard's organization is PCRM Physician Committee for Responsible Medicine, and this actually is international initiatives. And so
yeah,
we're so excited finally be able to start to kick off this event first LBBC in Rochester. Um, and thank you very much for partnering with us. This means a
absolutely.
lot, and we hope that we can spread the word and that a lot more cancer, survivors or family member know about your organization and know about many great resources, especially the nutrition side
Yeah,
that can help many of us in a long way.
yeah.
So now, Lori, so so you also would be at the event, the
So,
Let's Beat Breast Cancer event on October 10th to share about your journey. We also get to see some of your mentors right there.
I hope so. Yep, I'm working on them to be there.
And
Yep,
we are going to have a great food samples. Okay, so we are going to offer the recipe,
right.
with many great ingredients, delicious samples about the cancer fighting food.
Yeah,
So we hope that through the food, we can share more great tips and bring people more joys, and
That's
give them a
amazing.
confidence, as you mentioned about
Hmm.
um, once the people know how to navigate
Hmm.
their own life with the the great resource you offer, the great resource about the nutrition, great resource about the health tips, then they feel like I got this, right?
I can do it, right?
That's
Yes,
the hope. Yeah.
yes, yes.
So now we would like to have to have this your great organization, such an important job, continue to help a lot more people. And of course, um, you know, what we want more people to learn about your organization. So how do people get a hold of you?
Sure, sure. So first and foremost, we have a website. So
Mm-hmm.
our website is bcsupportnetwork.org.
Mm-hmm.
That's our website. All of the information on how to contact us is on that website. But
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you, so we can, um, we also have a um, email. Sorry, I could not think of it.
Email,
Email. I
we
drew a
can
blank.
reach
A
out to
blank.
you.
In
Yes.
so yep, our email address is info@bcsupportnetwork.org. So if you email, any email comes to one of our mentors that coordinates that email box and
Mm-hmm.
actually will get the email wherever it needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have a phone number that is monitored as well. And the
Okay.
number is 507-200-8072.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that is on the website. There's also information on how to get links to the two online support groups, as well as how to be connected one-on-one with a mentor in either one of those formats. So,
We will make sure all the contact information is on this podcast link, and
okay,
so people get
excellent.
to reach out to you. Another exciting things about this upcoming event, October 10th, is our Rochester Mayor Norton.
Hmm.
She's also going to proclaim that week. I think that particular week we host the LBBC rally. Is going to be the breast cancer week for Rochester, even though this is
Great.
an international event. So we are very excited to have a great support from our city leader. So another thing is we will have a special show at KDTC Midwest
Hmm.
Access with the host Jesse Allison on
Okay,
October 1st. So we would
great.
like to everybody tune in,
Yeah,
get to see more exciting news and coming in so we can spread the word a lot farther, faster.
yeah.
Please join us the upcoming event. And Lori, thank you so much for sharing your great story and the great service from your organization.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to join today. It was a great pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lori.